The military transport ship broke through Earth's atmosphere with a sonic boom that rattled windows across New Seoul. Inside, Captain Mina Song sat rigid in her seat, her fingers tapping an old battle rhythm on her knee. 5 years in space. 5 years of commands, strategies, and hard choices. And now, at 16, she was coming home. Captain Song. Landing in 3 minutes, said the pilot through the speaker. Mina nodded, though no one could see her. Her dark hair was cut in the standard military style, short and practical. Her uniform bore medals that senior officers twice her age could only dream of earning. The youngest field commander in Earth's history, the hero of the Battle of Proxima Centauri, the girl who saved 3 colony worlds. And now she was supposed to be just a teenager again. The ship landed with a gentle thud at the military base outside New Seoul. Mina grabbed her small bag containing everything she owned and walked toward the exit. With each step, her combat boots echoed against the metal floor. She had worn these same boots when she led the final charge against the Dominion forces at New Mars. As the door opened, bright sunlight hit her face. Mina blinked, her eyes used to the dim lighting of space vessels. A small crowd waited at the bottom of the ramp. Military officials, reporters, and 2 people standing slightly apart. Her parents. Her father looked older than she remembered. Her mother was crying. Mina walked down slowly, back straight, chin up, as she had been taught. The crowd cheered. Cameras flashed. She didn't smile. Captain Song. How does it feel to be back on Earth? Shouted a reporter. What are your plans now that the war is over? Asked another. A military officer stepped forward. No questions today. Captain Song has just returned and needs time with her family. Mina's parents approached. Her mother reached out but stopped before touching her, as if afraid Mina might break or disappear. Mina, her mother whispered, "You're really home." Her father nodded, eyes wet. "Welcome back, daughter." They didn't hug. Mina had forgotten how to hug someone. In space, physical contact was either medical or violent, never gentle. The officer guided them to a waiting car. "Your belongings will be delivered to your home, Captain. Your parents have been briefed on your transition plan." Transition plan? Mina asked, speaking for the first time. Her voice sounded strange to her own ears. "Yes," said her father as they sat in the backseat. "You'll be starting school next week at HFY Academy." Mina's eyes widened. "School? I haven't been in a classroom since I was 11. "The war is over, Mina," her mother said softly. "It's time for you to be a normal girl again." Normal. The word felt foreign to Mina. What was normal about a 16-year-old who had commanded battle cruisers, who had made life-or-death decisions, who had watched friends die? The car drove through the streets of New Seoul. Everything looked both familiar and strange. Buildings stood where there had once been open fields. Holographic advertisements flashed where there had once been military warning signs. "Your room is just how you left it," her mother said, trying to fill the silence. Mina nodded. How she left it. The room of an 11-year-old girl who loved space and dreamed of adventure. Before the Dominion attacked. Before she was identified as a tactical prodigy and recruited. Before she became Captain Song. As the car turned onto their street, Mina looked up at the blue sky. No enemy ships. No laser fire. Just peace and quiet. And somehow, that scared her more than any battle ever had. School. Teenagers. Homework. Small problems and small solutions. No life or death choices. "We're home," her father said as the car stopped. Mina took a deep breath. The war against the Dominion was over, but her hardest battle was just beginning. The morning sun crept through Mina's window. She had been awake for hours, sitting cross-legged on her bed in the darkness. Old habits died hard. During the war, she had trained herself to need only 4 hours of sleep. Her body still followed that schedule. "Mina, are you up?" Her mother's voice came through the door. "Breakfast is ready. Your new school uniform is on the chair." "I'm up," Mina replied. She looked at the uniform, a simple blue and white outfit with the HFY Academy logo, so different from her captain's uniform. Downstairs, her parents tried to make the morning seem normal. Her father read the news on his tablet. Her mother had made a traditional Korean breakfast. "Eat well," her mother said. "First day is always hard." Minna nodded and picked at her food. Hard. She had led troops into battle against aliens twice her size with weapons that could vaporize a human in seconds. How hard could high school be? 2 hours later, she realized she had been wrong. HFY Academy was chaos. Students ran through hallways. They shouted. They laughed. They moved in unpredictable patterns. Nothing like the ordered military life Minna knew. "You must be Minna Song." A tall woman with glasses approached her in the main hall. "I'm Ms. Jin, your homeroom teacher. Welcome to HFY Academy." Minna stood at attention and gave a small bow. "Thank you, ma'am." Ms. Jin smiled. "No need for ma'am here. Follow me to your classroom." As they walked, students stared and whispered. News of her arrival had spread. The war hero, the child soldier, the girl who had killed. Room 3B was filled with 25 students who fell silent when Minna entered. Ms. Jin motioned for her to stand at the front. "Class, this is Minna Song. She's joining us this semester. Please make her feel welcome." 25 pairs of eyes studied her. Minna fought the urge to scan the room for threats, to calculate escape routes. This wasn't a battlefield. These weren't enemies. "You can sit next to Hyunwoo," Ms. Jin said, pointing to an empty desk beside a boy with glasses who looked up from his computer with surprise. Minna walked to the desk, her posture perfect, her face blank. She sat down and placed her new tablet exactly parallel to the edge of the desk. "Hi," Hyunwoo whispered. "I'm Hyunwoo Choi." "Minna Song," she replied, though he already knew that. Class began. History. The teacher talked about the early days of the war, before Minna had joined the fight. He got several facts wrong. Minna bit her tongue. The morning passed in a blur of classes, new faces, and strange routines. Then came lunch. The cafeteria was the worst. Too loud. Too many people moving. Too many choices. In space, meals were simple, nutrient-balanced rations designed for efficiency. Minna stood frozen in the doorway, her tray empty, her heart racing. "You look lost." A girl with short hair and bright eyes appeared beside her. "I'm Sumi Park. Want to sit with us?" Before Minna could answer, a commotion broke out across the room. A tall boy had knocked a smaller one to the floor. Food splattered everywhere. "That's Taeho," Sumi sighed. "He's always picking on Juwoo." Minna watched as Taeho stood over the smaller boy, Juwoo, laughing as Juwoo tried to clean his shirt. "Someone should help him," Minna said quietly. "Nobody does. Taeho's dad owns half the district." Without thinking, Minna set down her tray and walked over. The cafeteria grew quiet as students noticed her approach. "Stop," Minna said, her voice calm but firm, the same voice she had used to command soldiers. Taeho turned, surprised. "Who are you to tell me what to do?" "Someone who knows bullies are just cowards looking for easy targets." Minna helped Juwoo up. "And I'm not an easy target." Taeho stepped forward, angry, but froze when he met Minna's eyes. There was something there that made him step back, something he had never seen in another teenager's eyes before. "Whatever," he muttered, walking away. "Not worth my time." The cafeteria erupted in whispers. Minna helped Juwoo clean up, then returned to where Sumi waited, eyes wide. "That was amazing," Sumi said. "Nobody stands up to Taeho." Minna shrugged. It wasn't much. But as she followed Sumi to a table where Hyunwoo and other students waited, Minna realized something. For the first time since coming home, she felt like herself, not because she had fought, but because she had protected someone who needed help. Maybe that was the bridge between Captain Song and teenage Minna. Maybe that was how she would survive high school. A week passed. Minna adjusted to school life slowly. She still woke before dawn. She still stood too straight. She still scanned rooms for exits. But people were getting used to her, and she was getting used to them. Today was different. Mr. Doyun, the physics teacher, had called Mina to his classroom during lunch. When she arrived, Hyunwoo and Shumi were already there. "Come in, Mina," Mr. Doyun said. He was tall and thin with a small scar above his left eye. "I selected you three for the annual science competition." Mina sat down stiffly. Group projects weren't her strong point. In the military, she gave orders. People followed them. Simple. "This year's theme is Technology for Peace," Mr. Doyun continued. "Each team must create something that could help humanity." "What did you have in mind, sir?" Mina asked. Mr. Doyun smiled at her military manners. "That's for you three to decide. You have 6 weeks." After he left them alone, Shumi bounced in her seat with excitement. "This is huge. The winning team gets a tour of the Space Academy and college recommendations. I already have some ideas," Hyunwoo said, pushing up his glasses. "Maybe a new communication system or shield technology," Mina said quietly. They both turned to her. "What kind of shield?" Hyunwoo asked. Mina hesitated. Should she share this? It was classified once, but the war was over now. During the Battle of Proxima Centauri, our ships used energy shields that could stop Dominion weapons. But they were huge and needed massive power. What if we could make a smaller version? Something that could protect a building or even a person? Hyunwoo's eyes widened. That would be amazing. But, do you know how they worked? I used them. I helped repair them. I know the basics. Shuma looked at Mina with new eyes. Sometimes I forget who you are. What you did out there. Mina looked down at her hands. I try to forget too. A silence fell over the room. Then Hyunwoo opened his tablet. Well, let's start with what you know, and I'll see if I can shrink the technology. For the next hour, they worked. Mina drew diagrams of the shield systems she remembered. Hyunwoo typed rapid notes. Suma, an artist, made beautiful models on her tablet. As they worked, something strange happened. Mina forgot she was different. She forgot about the war. She was just a student working on a project with friends. Was this what normal felt like? Their planning was interrupted when the lunch bell rang. We should meet after school, Hyunwoo suggested. Maybe at my house. My dad has a workshop in the garage. Mina nodded. I'll need to tell my parents. Later that day, Mina sat in Hyunwoo's garage surrounded by tools and tech parts. His father, an engineer, had left them plenty of materials to work with. So, Shumi said, sitting cross-legged on a workbench, what was it like? Being in space? Fighting aliens? Mina froze. No one at school had asked her directly yet. Suma, Hyunwoo scolded. You can't just ask that. It's okay, Mina said. It was cold. Space is very cold. And quiet. Until it's not. She picked up a piece of metal, turning it in her hands. The Dominion weren't what people think. They weren't monsters. They were desperate. Their sun was dying. They needed new worlds. But they killed people, Shumi said. Yes. And we killed them back. Mina set down the metal. That's why this project matters. Shields protect without hurting others. They worked until evening, making plans and testing ideas. As the sun set, Hyunwoo's mother called them for dinner. Will you stay, Mina? She asked. Mina checked her watch. I should go home. My parents worry. As she walked home in the fading light, Mina thought about the day. For hours, she hadn't thought about the war. She hadn't been Captain Song. She had just been Mina. That night, for the first time since returning to Earth, Mina slept without nightmares. She dreamed of shields that could protect people, of technology that could bring peace, of a future where no one had to make the hard choices she had made. When she woke, Mina realized something important. Maybe coming home wasn't about forgetting who she had been in space. Maybe it was about using that person to become someone new. someone who could build things instead of destroying them. With that thought, she got ready for school, looking forward to seeing her friends and working on their project again. 3 weeks passed. The shield project was going well. Hyunwoo had figured out how to make a small shield generator using parts from old phones and computers. Xiumi had designed a beautiful case for it. Mina had programmed the control system using what she remembered from her military days. Today was special. Ms. Jin had organized a field trip to the Planetary Defense Museum in downtown New Seoul. The museum showcased technology and artifacts from the war. "Everyone stay with your group," Ms. Jin called as 40 students climbed off the bus. "Remember, this is educational, not playtime." Mina stood still, looking up at the museum. She had never seen it before. The building was shaped like a spaceship, with tall glass windows and metal beams. Above the entrance hung a real Scorpion-class fighter, the same kind she had flown during the Battle of New Mars. "Are you okay?" Xiumi asked, touching her arm lightly. Mina nodded. "Just memories." Inside, the museum was crowded with visitors. Tour guides led groups through exhibits about the war. Timeline displays, weapon showcases, and interactive holograms of famous battles. Mina walked slowly, checking each display for accuracy. Most were correct, but some made the war seem cleaner, simpler than it had been. There were no displays showing the hospital ships. No mention of the planets lost before humans learned to fight back. "Look at this," Hyunwoo called. He stood in front of a case containing a broken Dominion weapon. "This is similar to what our shield needs to stop." Mina joined him, studying the weapon. Yes, their energy signature was unique. That's why our shields had to be. A loud alarm cut through the air. Red lights flashed. People looked around in confusion. "What's happening?" a student asked. Mina's body tensed. Her mind switched to battle mode instantly. She scanned the room, locating exits, counting people, assessing threats. Then she saw it. A security drone had activated in the center of the room. It hovered 8 feet off the ground, its sensors scanning the crowd. Its weapon ports were open. "Security breach detected," announced the drone in a mechanical voice. "Unauthorized weapon identified. All visitors please evacuate immediately." People began to move toward the exits, some walking quickly, others running in panic. Mina looked around and spotted the problem. A boy from another school held a replica Dominion blaster he had bought from the gift shop. The drone had mistaken it for a real weapon. "Stop!" Mina shouted above the noise. Everyone froze, including her classmates. Her voice carried the authority of a captain. "Don't run. Move calmly to the exits." She turned to Hyunwoo and Sumi. "Get everyone out. I'll handle the drone." "But," Hyunwoo began. "Now," Mina said firmly. As her friends led the students toward the exit, Mina approached the drone carefully. Its sensors turned toward her. "Halt. Do not approach," the drone warned. "Security override," Mina called out, remembering the codes from her military training. "Authorization. Captain Song, Mena, Earth Defense Force. Code, Bluebird 79. The drone hesitated, its lights flickering. The code was old but might still work. "Partial recognition," the drone replied. "Voice pattern registered in military database. Please verify identity." Mina stepped closer. "The gift shop item is not a weapon. It's a replica. Scan again with lower sensitivity." The drone scanned the boy with the toy again. Its lights changed from red to yellow. Scan complete. No energy signature detected. False alarm. The drone's weapon ports closed. Its alarm stopped. Museum security guards rushed in, followed by the museum director. "What happened?" the director asked, looking from the drone to Mina. "Malfunction," Mina explained. "The drone mistook a souvenir for a weapon. I used an old override code to calm it down." The director stared at her. "Old override code? Who are you?" Before Mina could answer, a woman with a camera approached. "Excuse me, aren't you Captain Minasong?" the hero of Proxima Centauri. Mina stepped back. I need to join my class. But it was too late. The woman was already taking pictures. More people gathered, recognizing her name. Outside, Ms. Jin had counted all the students. When Mina finally escaped the building, her teacher looked both relieved and angry. What were you thinking, staying behind? Ms. Jin demanded. I was helping, Mina said simply. Hyunwoo and Sumi ran up to her. That was amazing. Shuma said, you were so calm. How did you know what to do? Hyunwoo asked. Mina shrugged. I've dealt with worse than a confused drone. On the bus ride back to school, Mina sat alone, looking out the window. She had slipped back into being Captain Song so easily. The calm commander making quick decisions, protecting others. But now everyone had seen it. Her cover as just another student was blown. And somehow, that felt both scary and freeing. Her phone buzzed with a message from her father. We need to talk when you get home. The museum incident is all over the news. Mina sighed. The quiet life her parents wanted for her was getting more complicated by the day. Mina sat at the kitchen table. Her parents stood across from her, their faces tight with worry. The news played on the wall screen, footage of Mina at the museum, calmly giving orders and stopping the security drone. This is exactly what we wanted to avoid, her father said, turning off the screen. We wanted you to have a normal life. I didn't ask for that drone to malfunction, Mina replied. I just did what needed to be done. Her mother sat down beside her. We know, sweetie. But now everyone knows who you are again. The doorbell rang. Her father checked the security camera. Reporters, he said with a sigh. They'd been coming all evening. Mina went to her room and closed the door. On her tablet, messages from classmates filled the screen. Some asked about the museum. Others shared links to news stories about her. Kanwoo and Sumi had sent supportive messages, asking if she was okay. She didn't answer any of them. Instead, she opened her window and climbed onto the roof, something she used to do as a child when she wanted to see the stars. The night sky over New Seoul was hazy with light pollution, but she could still make out a few stars. Somewhere up there, the war continued on distant planets. Earth might be at peace, but the galaxy was big. Her phone buzzed. An unknown number. She answered cautiously. Captain Song. A man's voice, smooth and professional. This is Jawon Baek from Global News Network. I wanted to talk to you about the Meridian mission. Mina's heart stopped. The Meridian mission. She had tried so hard to forget that name. How did you get this number? She asked, her voice cold. I'm an investigative reporter, Jawon said. I've been researching what really happened at Meridian Station. The official story doesn't match my sources. I have nothing to say about that mission, Mina said. It's still classified. Is it classified because 82 people died? Because you gave the order that killed them? Mina ended the call. Her hands shook. Sweat beaded on her forehead, despite the cool night air. The memories came flooding back. The impossible choice, the countdown, the silence afterward. She didn't sleep that night, or the next. At school, more people stared at her. Teachers treated her differently. Some with awe, others with fear. Only Mr. Do-yeon treated her normally, nodding to her when they passed in the hall as if nothing had changed. During lunch, Mina sat alone until Hyunwoo and Sumi joined her. We've been working on the shield, Hyunwoo said. Want to see our progress? Mina nodded, grateful for the distraction. In the science lab, Hyunwoo showed her a small device the size of his palm. It's not pretty yet, but the energy field works. Watch. He pressed a button. A faint blue glow surrounded the device, extending about 10 centimeters in all directions. It's small, Shumi admitted, but it works. We tested it against heat and electricity. Mina touched the field gently. It felt like pushing against thick water. This is amazing. How did you get it working so fast? Your diagrams were really helpful, Hyunwoo said. And Suma's dad works at Soltech. He gave us some special parts. For a moment, Minna forgot about the reporters, the phone call, the memories. She was just proud of what they had built together. That afternoon, military officials came to the school. They wanted Mina to speak at an event honoring war veterans. Her parents were called. It would mean a lot to the troops, said Colonel Jiang, a tall woman in a crisp uniform, especially those still serving off-world. Mina's father shook his head. She's trying to adjust to civilian life. These appearances would be disruptive. I understand, Colonel Jiang said. But Captain Song's actions saved millions. Her story brings hope. Later, at home, Minna's parents argued about what was best for her. Minna sat on the stairs, listening. She deserves a normal life, her mother insisted. But is pretending to be normal helping her? Her father asked. You've seen the nightmares, the way she checks every room for exits. Maybe accepting who she is would be healthier. That night, Minna received another call from Ja Won-baek. This time, she blocked the number. But his words echoed in her head. 82 people. Her order. Her responsibility. The nightmares were worse than ever. In her dreams, she was back on the command ship, watching the clock tick down, knowing what her decision meant. The next day at school, during their science project meeting, Minna dropped a glass beaker. It shattered with a crash that sounded too much like an explosion. And suddenly, she wasn't in the science lab anymore. She was back in space, back in the battle, back in the moment where everything went wrong. Minna. Shuma's voice sounded far away. Minna, are you okay? But Captain Song couldn't hear her. Captain Song was light years away, fighting a war that wouldn't end, making choices no 16-year-old should have to make. The sound of glass breaking echoed in the science lab. For everyone else, it was just a broken beaker. For Mina, it was the sound of a hull breach, of explosive decompression, of death in the cold vacuum of space. Enemy fire, Minna shouted, diving across the table. She knocked Sumi to the floor, covering her with her body. Shields down. Get to the escape pods. The classroom went silent. Students stared. Mr. Do-yeon rushed over. Minna, he said calmly, kneeling beside her. You're at Hambit Academy. You're safe. Minna blinked, reality slowly coming back into focus. She wasn't on her ship. There were no Dominion fighters. No one was dying. She had just broken a beaker in science class. And she had tackled Sumi to the ground. Minna scrambled to her feet. I'm sorry, she whispered. Then she ran from the room. She found herself in the bathroom, locked in a stall, breathing hard. Her heart raced. Her hands shook. Sweat soaked through her uniform. The bathroom door opened. Footsteps approached. Minna. It was Suma's voice. Are you in here? Minna didn't answer. We know you're here. Your bag is still in the classroom. Hyunwoo's voice. He had followed Suma into the girls' bathroom. Minna opened the stall door. Her friends stood there, concern on their faces. I'm sorry, she said again. I don't know what happened. We do, Hyunwoo said quietly. PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. My uncle had it after the early battles. Minna shook her head. I'm fine. You're not, Shumi said, taking her hand. And that's okay. No one expects you to be fine after what you've been through. Hyunwoo looked at her seriously. Is this about the Meridian mission? We saw that reporter trying to talk to you yesterday outside school. Minna froze. You know about that? We looked it up after he mentioned it. Hyunwoo admitted. There's not much information, just that something went wrong and a ship was lost. Minna sank to the floor, her back against the bathroom wall. Her friends sat beside her. It wasn't just something going wrong, she said, her voice hollow. It was me. I gave the order. Shumi took her hand. What happened? Minna had never told anyone the full story. It was classified. But maybe that was part of the problem, carrying it alone. The Dominion attacked 3 colony worlds at once. My fleet was the only defense nearby. But we received a distress call from Meridian Research Station 2. They were developing a new weapon that could turn the tide of the war. She paused, her eyes unfocused, seeing it all again. I had to choose. Send ships to protect the colonies with millions of people, or save the research station with 82 scientists and the weapon plans. I chose the colonies. You had to, Hyanwu said softly. I know, but I still hear them sometimes. The last transmission from Meridian. They knew they were going to die. But they didn't blame me. Minna wiped tears from her cheeks. They thanked me, said I made the right call. How am I supposed to live with that? Sumi wrapped her arms around Minna. Together. You live with it together. You don't have to carry this alone anymore. Hyanwu nodded. We're your friends, Minna. We're here for you. Mr. Do-Yun appeared in the doorway. Everything okay in here? The three friends looked up at him. Minna wiped her eyes. No, she admitted, but maybe it will be. Mr. Do-Yun nodded as if he understood perfectly. Come to my office, all three of you. In his small office, Mr. Do-Yun made them tea. Then he rolled up his sleeve, revealing a military tattoo, the emblem of the 1st Earth Defense Fleet. 5th Battalion, Heavy Weapons Division, he said. I served in the early years. Mina stared at him. You were a soldier. For 3 years. Until I was injured at the Battle of Titan. He tapped his leg, which made a metallic sound. Then I became a teacher, found a new way to serve. He looked directly at Mina. The war doesn't have to define you forever, Captain. But you can't outrun it either. Trust me, I tried. What should I do? Mina asked. Get help. There are groups for veterans. People who understand. He wrote something on a piece of paper. This is Dr. Yuma Kang. She works with soldiers returning from the front lines. She can help. Mina took the paper reluctantly. And be honest with your friends, he added. They want to help. Let them. After school, Hyunwoo and Sumi walked Mina home. They talked about normal things, homework, music, the upcoming science competition. They didn't treat her differently, even after what she had told them. At her door, Mina paused. Thank you. For today. For everything. That's what friends are for, Shuma said with a smile. See you tomorrow, Hyunwoo added. We still have a shield to build. Inside, Mina found her parents waiting. They had received a call from the school about her episode. They looked worried. I need help, Mina told them before they could speak. She showed them the paper with Dr. Kang's information. I want to talk to someone about everything. Her mother hugged her tightly. We'll call first thing tomorrow. That night, for the first time since returning to Earth, Mina talked openly with her parents about the war, about the choices she had made, about the weight she carried. It wasn't easy. There were tears and painful silences. But as she spoke, Mina felt something inside her begin to shift, like a wound finally exposed to air so it could start to heal. The nightmares might not stop right away. The memories wouldn't fade overnight, but she wasn't alone in the dark anymore. And maybe that was the first step toward finding a way to be both Captain Song and just Mina, the hero and the teenager, learning to live with both sides of herself. The Veterans Support Center was in a quiet part of the city. The building was simple, with large windows and plants in the entry. The sign read, Peace Within, Veterans Support Services. Mina stood outside, hesitating. Her mother waited in the car, giving her space to decide. You don't have to do this today, her mother had said on the drive over. We can come back when you're ready. But Mina knew she needed to take this step. She walked through the door. Inside, a woman with short gray hair greeted her. You must be Mina. I'm Dr. Yuma Kang. Dr. Kang led Mina to a comfortable room with soft chairs and paintings of peaceful landscapes. Mr. Do-Yun told me a little about your situation, Dr. Kang said, but I'd like to hear from you. Mina sat stiffly. I don't know where to start. How about with yesterday? What happened in your classroom? Slowly, Minna explained the broken beaker, the flashback, the memories that wouldn't leave her alone. Dr. Kang listened without judging. When Minna finished, she nodded. What you're experiencing is normal for someone who has been through combat. Your brain is still in survival mode, still looking for threats. She leaned forward. But there are ways to help your mind understand that you're safe now. Will I ever be normal? Minna asked quietly. Define normal, Dr. Kang said with a small smile. Everyone carries something. The goal isn't to erase what happened to you. It's to learn to carry it in a way that doesn't hurt so much. After talking more, Dr. Kang suggested Minna join a weekly group for young veterans. You're younger than most, but not the only teenage veteran. Would you be willing to try the group? Minna nodded. She would try anything to stop the flashbacks. 2 days later, Minna returned to the center for her first group session. 6 other people sat in a circle. The oldest looked about 30. The youngest, a boy with a prosthetic arm, seemed only a year or 2 older than Minna. Dr. Kang introduced her. This is Minna Song. She's joining us today. A tall man with a friendly face nodded to her. Welcome, Minna. I'm Jinsu, former Marine. The others introduced themselves. Daeho, who had served on a medical ship. Yunji, a fighter pilot. Taeyong, communications specialist. Jiai, tactical officer. And Minji, the boy with the prosthetic arm, who had been a ground soldier. We all served in different parts of the war, Jinsu explained. Different experiences, same struggles. What do you do now? Minna asked him. I'm a gardener, Jinsu said. I grow things instead of destroying them. It helps. For the next hour, the group talked about their week, their struggles, their small victories. Minji had gone to a crowded mall without panicking. Yunji had finally told her family about her nightmares. Jinsu had planted a new garden at a school. When it was Minna's turn, she hesitated, then told them about the broken beaker, the flashback, and how her friends had helped her. Friends who stand by you are worth more than medals, Daeho said. Hold on to them. After the session, Minji approached Minna. I heard about you. The youngest captain. Minna tensed, waiting for questions about battles or kills. I just wanted to say, Minji continued, it gets better. Not perfect, but better. On her way out, Dr. Kang stopped her. What did you think? They're all functioning, Minna said. Working, living. Yes, that's the point. The war changed them, but it didn't end them. Dr. Kang smiled. See you next week. Minna nodded. For the first time, she could imagine a future where the war was part of her story, but not her whole story. At school the next day, Minna met Hyunwoo and Sumi in the science lab. They were working on the SHIELD project, now adding the final touches before the competition. How was it? Sumi asked. The support group. Good, Minna said. There was a boy there, not much older than us. He lost his arm, but he's still going forward. Like you, Hyunwoo said, not looking up from the SHIELD device. You're going forward too. Minna smiled at her friends. We all are. Together. That afternoon, they tested the SHIELD again. This time, it projected a field large enough to cover all 3 of them. It works. Hyunwoo exclaimed as Sumi tossed a rubber ball at them. The ball bounced off the invisible shield with a soft blue glow. Not just that, Minna said, checking the readings. It's stable, efficient. This could really work for civilian protection. Mr. Do-yeon came in to check their progress. He watched their demonstration with an impressed look. Excellent work, he said. But a shield is only as good as what it protects. What will you say about it at the competition? The 3 friends looked at each other. We need to talk about why it matters, Minna said slowly. Not just the technology, but the purpose. And what is that purpose? Mr. Do-yeon asked. Minna thought about her experiences in space, about the tough choices, about what she had learned in the support group. To protect what matters most, she said finally. Not just lives, but the chance for those lives to grow, to heal, to build something new. Mr. Doyen nodded, satisfied. Now you have a complete project. That evening, Minna sat with her parents at dinner. She told them about the support group, about Minji and Jinsu and the others. For the first time since coming home, she spoke openly about the war without shutting down. "I'm proud of you," her father said. "Facing this head-on is brave." "I had good examples," Minna replied, looking at her parents. They had never given up on her, even when she pushed them away. Later, as she prepared for bed, Minna received a message from Dr. Kang. "Remember, healing isn't linear. There will be good days and hard days. The goal isn't to forget, but to remember without being overwhelmed. You are more than your hardest moments." Minna read the message twice, then looked out her window at the night sky. The stars seemed a little brighter tonight, the memories a little less heavy. She was still Captain Song. She always would be, but she was also becoming something new. Minna Song, student, friend, daughter, and maybe someday, builder of shields that could protect without harming. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. The science competition was only 2 weeks away. The reporter, Ja Won-baek, was still trying to contact her about the Meridian mission, and her nightmares hadn't completely stopped. But for the first time since coming home, Minna felt ready to face those challenges, not alone, but with friends and family who saw her, all of her, and stood by her anyway. That night, she slept peacefully, dreaming not of battles lost, but of futures yet to be built. The morning of the science competition arrived with clear skies and warm sunshine. Hambit Academy's main hall had been transformed. Tables lined the walls, each displaying a student project. Judges in formal clothes walked around with tablets, taking notes. Parents and teachers filled the remaining space. Minna stood with Hyunwoo and Suma at their table. Their shield generator sat on a small platform, surrounded by diagrams and data charts. Minna wore her school uniform, not her military one, but she still stood straight, hands behind her back. "Relax," Sumi whispered. "You look like you're about to give battle orders." Minna tried to loosen her shoulders. "Sorry. Old habits." "Look, there's my dad," Hyunwoo said, waving to his father who stood near the entrance. Minna's parents were there too, talking with Mr. Doyen. They had been surprised when Minna asked them to come. She hadn't wanted them involved in her school life before. The principal stepped onto the small stage at the front of the hall. "Welcome to Hambit Academy's annual science competition. Our students have worked hard to create innovations that could shape our future. Judges, you may begin your evaluations." A woman in a blue suit approached their table first. "Please explain your project." Hyunwoo stepped forward. "We've created a miniaturized energy shield based on military technology, but adapted for civilian use." He demonstrated how the device worked, showing the shield's projection range and its ability to block various objects. Sumi explained the design choices and potential applications, protecting homes from natural disasters, creating safe zones in dangerous areas, even medical uses for keeping wounds sterile. Then it was Minna's turn. "The shield technology itself isn't new," she began, her voice steady. "Similar systems protected our ships during the war. What's new is the scale and efficiency. We've made it accessible." The judge nodded, impressed. "And the practical applications?" Minna hesitated. She had prepared technical answers, but suddenly they felt hollow. "May I speak honestly?" she asked. The judge looked surprised but nodded. "I commanded a ship during the war," Minna said. People nearby turned to listen. "I saw planets destroyed, lives lost. I gave orders that saved some people and couldn't save others." The hall grew quiet as more people realized who was speaking. "This shield won't stop wars. It won't erase the past, but it can protect what matters, not just buildings, but the people inside them. The chance to live and grow and heal." Minna looked at her friends, then at her parents. "Because that's what I've learned since coming home. Protection isn't just about survival. It's about creating space for life to flourish again. When she finished, the hall was silent for a moment. Then someone started clapping. Others joined in. The judge wrote something on her tablet, nodded to them, and moved to the next table. That wasn't what we rehearsed, Hanmu whispered, eyes wide. It was better, Shumi said, squeezing Mina's hand. More judges came. The three friends explained their project again and again. Some recognized Mina. Others didn't. She answered their questions honestly, no longer hiding who she was or what she had experienced. When the last judge left, Mina's parents approached. You did wonderfully, her mother said. Her father looked at the shield generator. You built this. It's incredible. We all did, Mina said, smiling at her friends. Together. The principal returned to the stage. The judges have made their decision. The winners of this year's competition are Mina Song, Hyunwoo Choi, and Shumi Park, with their civilian protection shield. The crowd applauded as the three friends walked to the stage to receive their award, a small trophy and certificates for a special tour of the Space Academy. As they returned to their table, a man approached them. He wore a press badge. It was Jawon Baek, the reporter who had been trying to contact Mina about the Meridian mission. Mina tensed, but didn't run. Captain Song, Jawon said. Congratulations on your win. Thank you, Mina replied cautiously. I heard your presentation, he continued. It was moving. Honest. Hyunwoo stepped closer to Mina protectively. What do you want? Jawon held up his hands. Just to talk. I've been researching the Meridian mission, yes, but not to blame anyone. To tell the whole story, the impossible choice, the lives saved, the sacrifice made. Mina looked at him carefully. Why? Because the public doesn't understand what it really means to fight a war. They hear about victories and losses, but not about the people who have to make those hard choices. He handed her a card. If you ever want to tell your story, the real story, call me. After he left, Suma hugged Mina. You don't have to call them. I know, Mina said, looking at the card. But maybe someday I will. The truth is better than rumors. The celebration continued around them. Parents congratulated students. Teachers praised projects. Normal high school life went on. Later, as they packed up their project, Mr. Do-hyun joined them. I knew you three would win, he said with a smile. Not just because of the technology, impressive as it is, but because you understood what it was really for. Protection, Mina said simply. Yes, and connection. He looked at the three friends. You've built more than a shield here. That evening, Mina's parents hosted a small party at their home. Kanwoo and Shumi came with their families. They ate cake, played music, and talked about normal teenage things. When the others had gone home, Mina sat with her parents in the living room. We're proud of you, her father said, not just for winning, but for how far you've come. I still have bad days, Mina admitted. Nightmares sometimes. We know, her mother said, but you're facing them now, not running from them. Mina nodded. The support group was helping. Her friends were helping. Even school was helping, giving her new challenges to focus on. She looked at the trophy they had won. It wasn't as impressive as her military medals, but somehow it meant more. This wasn't something she had done alone, following orders. This was something she had created with friends, by choice. That night, before sleeping, Mina wrote in the journal Dr. Kang had suggested she keep. She wrote about the competition, the shield, her friends. She wrote about Jawon Baek and the possibility of someday telling her story. And she wrote about the future. For the first time since returning to Earth, she could imagine one beyond just surviving day to day. A future where she used what she had learned in space to help people on Earth. A future where she was both Captain Song and just Mina, carrying both, reconciling both. It wouldn't be easy. The war had left its mark on her. Some scars would never completely fade. But as she closed her journal and looked out at the stars, Mina felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Not just for peace, but for healing. for growth, for the chance to build something new from the broken pieces of what had been. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but tonight, in this quiet moment, Minna Song, teenager, student, friend, and yes, captain, was at peace with all the parts of herself. 3 months after the science competition, spring had come to New Seoul. Cherry blossoms lined the streets. Students at HFY Academy opened windows to let in fresh air during classes. Life moved forward. Minna sat under a tree in the schoolyard, watching other students play a ball game. She still didn't join in such games, but she no longer felt completely separate from them either. "There you are," Hyunwoo said, dropping onto the grass beside her. Sumi followed, setting down her lunchbox. "Hiding?" Shumi asked with a smile. "Thinking," Minna corrected, "about the club meeting this afternoon." After winning the competition, Minna had started a club at school called Future Explorers. 15 students had joined. They discussed space, technology, and defense systems. But more importantly, they talked about ethics, about the hard choices exploration and protection sometimes required. "I finished the simulation program," Hyunwoo said, showing her his tablet. "Now the club members can practice space navigation without leaving Earth. And I completed the star charts," Sumi added. "They're beautiful, even if I say so myself." Minna smiled at her friends. In these past months, their success had opened doors. Their shield design had earned attention from universities. Hyunwoo was already talking about engineering programs. Shuma had been offered an internship with a design firm that worked with the Space Academy. And Minna was finding her balance. She still attended the veteran support group each week. She still had occasional nightmares. But she was learning to live with her past without being trapped by it. Her tablet beeped with a message. "It's my dad," she said, reading it. "He says to come home right after school. Something important." That afternoon, after the club meeting, Minna walked home quickly. She found her parents in the living room with 2 visitors, Colonel Jang from the military and Dr. Kang from the support center. "What's happening?" Minna asked, suddenly alert. "Nothing bad," her father assured her. "They have something to discuss with you." Colonel Jang stood. "Captain Song, we've received reports of Dominion remnants near the outer colonies. Small forces, but concerning. They seem to be testing our defenses." Minna's heart beat faster. "Why tell me this?" "Because you know their tactics better than anyone," Colonel Jang replied. "We would like you to consult with our defense planners. Not to fight, just to advise." Minna looked at Dr. Kang, who smiled gently. "I'm here to make sure they don't ask too much of you. This would be limited involvement. A few meetings, some tactical reviews. No combat. What do you think?" Minna asked her parents. Her mother took a deep breath. "We think it should be your choice. We've seen how much progress you've made these past months. We trust you to know your limits now." Minna thought carefully. 6 months ago, she would have jumped at the chance to return to military work. 3 months ago, she would have refused out of fear of the memories it might trigger. Now she saw a third option. "I'll help," she said, "but I have conditions." Colonel Jang raised an eyebrow. "What conditions?" "I want to bring civilian consultants, my project team from school. Hyunwoo Choi and Sumi Park." "They're students," Colonel Jang said, surprised. "They're brilliant," Minna countered. "Hyunwoo's programming skills are exceptional, and Shumi sees patterns no one else notices. Plus, they built a working shield generator in a school lab with limited resources." Colonel Jang looked skeptical. "This is highly unusual." "So was putting a 16-year-old in command of a battle cruiser," Minna pointed out. "Sometimes unusual works." After further discussion, Colonel Jang agreed. Dr. Kang made sure the terms were clear: limited hours, no classified battle details that might trigger Minna's PTSD, parental permission for all 3 students, and continued therapy sessions. When the visitors left, Minna's father put his hand on her shoulder. "Are you sure about this?" Minna nodded. "I can't pretend the war never happened. It's part of me. But this way, I can use what I learned out there without getting lost in it again. She called Hyunwoo and Sumi right away. They were excited but nervous. We'll be working with real military planners, Hyunwoo asked, using our shield design. And other ideas, Minna confirmed. They need fresh perspectives. People who think differently. Are you really okay with this? Sumi asked more quietly. Going back to anything related to the war. I'm not going back, Minna explained. I'm going forward, just bringing the useful parts with me. That evening, Minna sat in her backyard looking up at the stars. The door opened, and her mother joined her with 2 cups of hot tea. When you first came home, her mother said, I thought the best thing would be for you to forget the war, to be just a normal teenager again. Minna took a sip of tea. But that wasn't possible. No, you can't forget what shaped you. Her mother looked up at the stars too. I realize now that healing doesn't mean erasing the past. It means finding a way to carry it that doesn't break you. They sat in comfortable silence for a while. Then Minna's phone chimed. It was Hyunwoo and Sumi, asking if they could come over to start brainstorming ideas for the military consultation. 10 minutes later, her friends arrived. They spread tablets and papers on the grass. Hyunwoo had already coded a simulation of the outer colony defenses. Sumi had sketched improvements to their shield design. As they worked, laughing and arguing good-naturedly under the stars, Minna felt a deep sense of peace. This was her life now. A strange blend of the military strategist she had been and the teenager she was becoming. She would always be Captain Song, the girl who had made impossible choices in the darkness of space. But she was also just Minna, a student with friends, homework, and dreams for the future. The nightmares would probably never completely vanish. The memories would stay with her. But they no longer defined her entire existence. They were just one chapter in a longer story that was still being written. Minna looked at her friends, then up at the stars where she had once fought for humanity's survival. The war had taken much from her, but it had also given her strengths she might never have discovered otherwise. Courage, decisiveness, and the ability to keep going even when the path forward seemed impossible. Now those same strengths would serve her in peace, not to fight battles, but to build bridges, not to survive enemies, but to create connections, not to simply endure, but to truly live. Look, Sumi said, pointing up. A shooting star streaked across the night sky. Make a wish, Hyunwoo suggested. Minna smiled. She didn't need to wish. Everything she needed was already here. Friends who understood her, family who supported her, and a future with possibilities as endless as the stars above. The war was over. The healing had begun. And Minna Song, teenager, student, friend, and yes, still captain, was ready for whatever came next. She had faced her hardest battle yet, being a teenager after commanding ships in interstellar war, and day by day, she was winning. Not by forgetting who she had been, not by pretending the war never happened, but by carrying her past with her into a future worth fighting for, worth living for, worth healing for. A future that, for the first time since coming home, Minna could finally see clearly, shining as bright as the stars that had once been her battlefield, and were now simply beautiful again.